Ah, good. We're all here.
Yes, we're here to talk about the stove.
Anyway, stove's not working. Campfire sucks by comparison. How are we fixing this?
Yes, please, let's talk about the stove.
How did we run out of coal anyway? I spent 2 days in Varentia working on that last batch.
Sure, but then we ended up in the Enclave. So now we need to find more. Also in the Enclave.
I don't easily have the materials to process another batch. But the temple might have some. I hate to admit it, but that was the one really useful thing I took out of my time with the Church of the Hallowed Pyre. They know their fuels.
Great! Temple. But what good's coal without a proper place to burn it for cooking? Solar?
If we're able to find coal like before, then it'll just be a case of reforming and reinforcing the old stove. I will need a few materials. I'll draft up a list for Bryn.
Good. Excellent. We're moments away from hot food. Go team!
So I'll...
Go team!
I'm with you, Bryn. Didn't expect the miasma to be so intense. It's over the scry.
You get used to it. Just have to use a more gentle touch and feel the way it slides.
This place never fails to impress. Just before the veil went up. Wouldn't have had to scavenge for alchemically treated coal at any rate.
One never quite forgets that smell.
Temple coal taking you back?
Unfortunately, yes. It conjures up images of stern keepers, hot stuffy vestibules, and ranted invective posing as sermons on the evils of magic. It was everywhere in Renland. The church has the nation in a stranglehold, and so I left. At considerable speed. I don't think I really stopped running at all until... well...
Until you met the love of your life.
yes. I thought so. I still hope so.
It's been a strain on you both.
I'm sure everyone has noticed.
Need an ear?
Maybe. It's clear she yearns to just stay here in the Enclave, even if we brought down the veil. But I find comfort in the road. It has few preachers and no community dedicated to strangling out individuality.
Worried if you stop moving that it will catch up with you.
I suppose I am still running in a way.
Does she know that?
It's not something I want to burden her with.
She's strong. In a lot of ways. Something to think about.
Right. Yes, I shall.
It's significantly easier to do a repair than working up a new suit of armor from scratch. I'm going to go soft.
We could use some really intricate chandeliers to brighten up the place.
Casman would be happy. Though, I strongly suspect this entire thing is an elaborate ruse to get Dom and I talking.
It's not like her to run out of things, it's true. Is it working, do you think?
I don't know. The intentions are good, but I'm hurting.
I think you both are.
Yes, but I'm the one who's been following his dream of wandering the Maida for years. And the moment I say, hey, maybe we could do something else, he shuts down.
You're right. That doesn't seem fair.
It isn't.
He didn't have a great reaction to what you said, it's true. But at the same time, he was rather caught off guard.
Well, perhaps it was a little abrupt.
Maybe he deserves a chance to have a second reaction?
You're as bad as Casman. Speaking of, we should see her and present the fruits of our labors.
I had a chance to run a test, and I would say our stove is cooking better than ever. Keeps the heat well, burns clean, a job well done.
Dom's always been very good at treating that kind of coal. Must be the Wren in him.
Hardly. No, I simply find my inspiration in...
I think...
Sola, I have an idea.
Oh?
Tarmakind uses exceptionally precise temperatures to work the metal, yes? Sometimes exceptionally high?
I mean, yes, but...
I finished Xavier's journals. He was quite thorough and talked extensively about working with the Halopire priests.
Nothing quite helps me commune with the flames like someone slamming a hammer into metal.
You'd be surprised. But I imagine Dom means the shrine underground. I saw it mentioned too.
Precisely. And perhaps we could lean on our intrepid point to investigate.
Of course. I'd be happy to.
They must have kept records. Samples, perhaps.
I really appreciate this.
Intriguing. To think of weaver smiths and priests working side by side down here.
The preachers you grew up with would launch an hour-long diatribe at the very thought, yeah?
An hour would just be the introduction. The emergence gate is one of several grand gates that was built to facilitate the transport of great archons. Apparently, it's no longer functional.
The march was the passage walked by great and small archons alike to reach wherever they were needed across the enclave. Is that bottled magma?
I've got one. I can't believe it's still warm. And you can feel the magic pulsing through it.
I wonder if proximity to the coral has affected it in some way.
found smithing logs with Xavier's name on them. Lots of sketched out designs, mostly in the margins.
Doodles always help me think too.
Think that's all I'm going to find down here. Get your research happening.
This is really very clever.
You figured it out then?
Yes, Xavier's idea was to use an alchemical process similar to what Dharm and I just did to treat the coals. Elements left over from weaving flame strands distilled and used to treat magma.
Literal magma? The blood of the earth?
Enchanted magma. Measured precisely from one of Xavier's containers, he could delicately control temperature in a forge or foundry.
Sola will be over the moon. I'll let her know.
And I'll collate the more technical details. They'll be ready when she is.
Lane, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
What is it?
Well, it turns out Oria's search for her father wasn't just about finding her family.
Crusades into one's lineage rarely are. Let me guess. She didn't find the missing piece of herself that she hoped she would, and now she's having an existential crisis.
Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
It happens. So, what has all this really been about?
She knows she needs to retire, and she's struggling with what her legacy has been.
Isn't it strange how the most accomplished people never seem to recognize their own success?
Yeah, I was hoping you could help with that. After all, isn't chronicling a legacy your specialty?
We could certainly commemorate her career with a written account. A lovely idea. I would suggest we personalize it with anecdotes from each of our traveling companions, as they've been in Oria's band longer than you or I. Would you interview them for me? Legacies may be my specialty, but you might have the leg up when it comes to connecting with others.
Sure, I can do that. Any tips on what to ask them?
Ask whatever you like. Maybe you want a few humorous stories in the mix. Or some readers prefer heartfelt. Why don't I start by interviewing you?
Me?
Of course. We'll need your input. What has Oria meant to you?
Before Oria, I didn't really have much of a mentor when it came to weaving. Sure, I picked up things from my old band, but she takes passing on knowledge so seriously. And her love of our culture comes through in how she teaches.
Great. I'll transcribe that and start her biography. Take notes when you speak to the others and come back to me.
Magma. Can you believe it?
Is it not lava?
I thought it was only lava if it bubbled up from underground. But now I'll have to ask Lane.
You heard the news then?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bryn. We ruined the surprise.
It's fine. Just nice to see you so happy.
We're confident that between the two of us, we can make Xavier's plan work.
And I'm keen to try it out. I was up sketching all night, and I have an idea for some armor to act as a test. If it works, we'll gather more. The veil has to open someday, and with this magma, we could be on the road for months.
Or maybe we'll stay. Either option provides you many potential students.
Or maybe, just maybe,
We could do both.
we'll make it work. After we get this bloody enclave sorted out. Right, Bryn?
I have every faith we will.
I love what you're doing for Oria. How can I help?
You've been in the Weaver Band the longest. How do you think Oria has changed throughout her career?
To be a point for as long as Oria has is extremely rare. The knowledge she's acquired at a time when Weavers have lost so much is invaluable. She's always been passionate about recovering what was lost since the Surge. Though, I think feeling alone in that ambition has taken a toll on her over the years.
In what way?
Not all Weavers are in this for our collective culture the way Oria is. Many of them only seek personal glory. When Casman didn't work out as her replacement point, she became worried she might never find someone that shared her vision for this band. It meant a lot when she finally found you.
Wow. Thank you, Sola.
Happy to help. So, I strongly suspect shenanigans, but also thank you.
About the stove?
Oh, absolutely. But shenanigans almost always come from a place of love.
Or lead to one?
Well said. And this forge is going to be invaluable, so we all benefit, including the future students I'm imagining up.
Any standouts in your illusory class?
There's a shy, red-headed lad named Carlos. He's going to go far. I just know it.
Bryn, I was just thinking about how we managed to trap the heat of molten rock itself.
And you and your wife seem through a complicated patch?
I never doubted we would find a way through. This time was different than the other spats we've had. I am very grateful for your help. I would not know what to do without Sola. She is very much my guiding star.
You're welcome. You big romantic. Just keep talking to her And the nights will be cloudless.
Indeed. Indeed. You know, a lot of points struggle with transitioning into a Watcher's role full-time. And there's never been a point more passionate than Aurea.
I know. I hope this eases her pain.
I'm sure it will. Now, what can I do to help?
What do you think makes Aurea such a strong leader?
She listens to her weaver's input when needed, yet remains decisive when a consensus can't be reached. The band I traveled with before fell apart due to disagreements over what our goals should have been. It was a difficult and tumultuous time in my career. I never wanted to live through that again.
I can relate. Traveling with Aurea is a completely different experience to my last band, too.
She has a clear vision for her band, and she chooses people that share her goals. Even when conflict arises, it doesn't last long, and Aurea can diffuse it quickly. That's because we can all trust that one another's intentions are good. Leading a weaver band is half the battle. Now, picking the weavers? That's the tough part.
Thanks for sharing, Dam.
It's nice to have the camp stove working properly again, even if it took Casmin quietly tossing our coal supply into the hollow one night to make it happen.
Wait, she did?
Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that. But Dam and Sola have reconciled, which I suspect was her whole plan, so hopefully it's okay. Still, Kaz doesn't like for people to know she's a romantic at heart.
Oh, I am very glad you mentioned this. Thank you, Lane.
Just go easy on the teasing. I don't want her to serve my stew cold all week.
I haven't known Aurea for as long as the others, but she's done a lot for me. I'd like to help with your project if I can.
Of course, Sev.
What do you want to know?
You said Aurea has done a lot for you. Tell me more about that.
After everything that's happened, everything I've done, she's just accepted me as part of the band. Until now, my position in life has always felt precarious. To just be accepted, no questions asked by someone like her, it means everything. She's given me a home. All of you have.
You'll always have one with us.
For the first time in my life, I actually believe that.
Thanks, Sev.
Glad to be of service.
Your idea to commemorate Aurea's career with Lane is lovely. How can I help?
If you were to summarize Aurea's influence on your life, what would that be?
Aurea saved me from serious burnout with the Eudaean relief efforts. Not to mention, saving me from myself a second time here in the Enclave. I don't know if I'd still be here without her. Or any of you, for that matter. Anyway, the longer I worked the relief ships, the worse the fatigue hit me. And I think that had become my entire identity. Barely a few minutes into meeting me, Aurea asked if I ever thought of becoming a weaver. I thought she was mad. But I guess she had observed me giving orders and organising shipments on the docks all morning. By the end of our conversation, I had a new purpose and a home in her band.
That's perfect. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
So, I was having a chat with Lane.
Oh?
Said something about you stashing coal outside the camp.
Oh, gods, they saw that?
Sure did.
Oh, I was so careful. Listen, Bryn, you know why I did it, right?
Because our enchanter and smith need to keep working together.
Yes, and they need to keep talking. They're so good together. So, I did what I had to. Just don't tell anyone, okay?
Kaz,
Yeah?
I think everyone knows. Except maybe Dom.
God, that's embarrassing.
You might want to sneak that coal back into the stocks at some point.
Already did. It was distracting to know the count was wrong.
My hand is cramped. But the account of Oria's career is finished.
Great. I'll gather everyone if you're ready to present it.
I'll need to ice my quill hand. But, of course,
Let's hope she likes this.
she will.
What's going on?
We wanted to present the latest addition to Lane's archive to you, together. We all contributed, though credit goes to Lane for compiling and writing it.
I've titled it A True and Personal Account of Oria Silverbeak Harpinet.
What is going on?
We wanted to do something special to commemorate your time as Point.
You didn't have to do all this.
We did. You've done more for each of us time and time again.
No one is more deserving of a place in Weaver history than you, Oria.
So we took it upon ourselves to write you one.
As a thank you for everything.
I don't know what to say.
Lane, why don't you read just the opening?
Oria Silverbeak, as she came to be known, was born to Sharian Harpinet and Eugenius Osphine inside the Enclave just before the Surge.
Osphine.
Though she never knew her father, her mother hoped Oria would follow in her footsteps as a skilled enchantress within the Maida. But Oria decided to become a Point, blazing her own trail. Something she would continue to do throughout her career, bigger and bolder each time. We'll let you read the rest on your own.
We hope this account will help you see yourself and your accomplishments the way we see you.
I'm at a loss. All I can say right now is thank you.
Bryn and Lane? To what do I owe the pleasure?
We're hoping that there's something you can help us with. Or rather, we're hoping that there's something we can help you with.
I'm not sure I follow.
I've been at a loose end, gnawing on painful thoughts, only growing more despondent in the process.
Huh.
So we're here to focus on problems that are a little more tangible. What can we help you with?
That is very kind of you. I've had a great deal of difficulty keeping on top of things.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
We're here to help. Like I said.
Right. I've got a petition from the scouts here somewhere. Let me find it. Arakim has been nagging me about accessing the Archon's hearth. Its stores of raw material could busy our forge masters for months. Now that I'm technically in charge, I'm loath to follow Kenrick's lead in recklessly sending the scouts into dangerous situations. What I'm lacking to make that call is intelligence on the Archon's hearth. Our documentation is decades out of date.
I'm not really the adventuring type.
Leave that to me. Just this once.
Yes. That makes more sense.
So, You can compile the report based on what you see on the scry, while I'm exploring the Archon's hearth.
Perhaps we can acquaint ourselves better too, Lane. I should very much like to hear what you've learnt about the Enclave during your visit.
It would be my pleasure to share my findings.
Then it's settled. Come find me when you have a moment, and we can pool our knowledge. Bryn, if you wouldn't mind completing this task expediently.
I'll see what I can do.
You must be thinking of running.
I...
Right. Let's see what else we can learn here.
magma pools in the cauldron made smelting convenient. Smiths can channel the hot gases.
like this cannot vault more data.
That has to be enough. Done?
Yes. Any more comparison points would suffer from diminishing returns. I appreciate your dedication, Brett.
Get this place under control. Will you run classes?
One thing at a time, Eric.
Sounds like a yes to me.
I think that's all the information the Axel will need on the Archon's hearth.
And then the priest says, that's not how you extinguish the holy flame.
I thought you never extinguished the holy flame.
They make certain exceptions when it threatens centuries-old tapestries.
You never talked about your time in the church.
They're not happy memories.
No. But they're yours.
Then let's not fight again so I have more time to share them.
That's unreasonable. Let's just make sure we're talking.
Of course, my love. After all, I love you like... I love you.
I love you too.
You'd never guess it, but the Archon's hearth is a very hot and dangerous place.
Any further revelations, Lane?
She's not wrong.
Seems that you're beginning to perk up, Lawkeeper.
Our conversations are taking my mind off things, I'll admit.
I'm glad to hear it. Bryn, the effort you've put into this will greatly improve the safety of the Scouts' expeditions. Can you elaborate on what you saw in the Foundry?
The most interesting part was where they grew the coral. I could feel the magic running through it.
It is a reminder that there are still lost secrets to be found.
Exactly. While exploring where the arcs were assembled, I couldn't help but imagine how busy it must have been back before the surge. Archons seem big when I'm fighting them, but the scale feels totally different when they're attached to a scaffold.
Fascinating.
Well, it was only one area that was particularly hot, but all of it was dangerous.
I assume you refer to the Arcane Foundry, then?
Yeah. It was on another level to what you've got here at the Hold, or what we have at camp. I can't imagine how many Archon parts they produced per day. Anyway, there's lots going on in there. Do you think it's safe enough to send in the Scouts?
Not quite. I still have grave concerns about the fluctuating heat levels.
I believe I may have a solution for that. A potion that will maintain your body temperature even in the hottest conditions. I don't quite have the equipment to make it yet, but the knowledge is there.
That's wonderful news. That said, I would like a demonstration to be sure they work.
A fair stipulation. Some sort of combat encounter in the Archon's hearth under the hottest possible conditions. Fighting an Archon that relies on fire magic would be ideal to demonstrate the potion's efficacy.
You know I'm always up for a challenge.
I have no doubt in your abilities, after what I've witnessed you achieve.
Well then, I'll be back once I've felled a mighty construct. Khan Arteme, my Weaver Band has repaired the arc we followed through the Veil and discovered its true purpose.
To nullify the tangles at the source so it can be repaired.
Its anti-magic properties are why we were able to follow it through the Veil in the first place.
I see.
If we could get it to the source, we believe it could stabilize the Enclave.
Except the Grand Gate was broken when the Ark pushed the Herald back through it.
Surely there must be another way to reach the source.
Now that it's repaired, couldn't this ark be used to leave the Enclave the way you came?
In theory, sure.
What are you saying, Khan Arteme?
It's time for someone to protect my people. I need to use that ark to get us all out of here.
You would leave with the Surgeborn running loose? Or worse, allow them to spread and wreak havoc across the Maida in your wake?
No one has succeeded in stopping them yet. We've been trapped inside the Enclave for decades. It's time to set ourselves free before the Surgeborn overtake Cassidon's hold and kill us all.
Is shoving problems under the rug truly the Enclave's legacy? Because it's a pattern at this point.
Agreed. Your people are better than this.
The Surgeborn has infiltrated our scry. It's learning how to use our enchantments against us. If we don't put a stop to this madness, how long until they overtake the arcs? Or bring down the Veil and spread across the Maida?
That is concerning. Still, let's be clear. Even if you could reach the source, there's a massive Surgeborn that almost killed you lurking down there.
I'll be ready for the Herald this time.
And what are you going to do about all the tangles? Punch them before they disintegrate you?
Honestly, we haven't quite figured that out yet. But Sev has some ideas.
The Ram that was helping Kenrick? Really?
Yes. The Ram that repaired the Grand Gate, and warned us just in time to save Cassidon's hold.
Fair enough, I suppose. But as you've said, you have no way to reach the source.
Fine. Our plan has a few kinks to iron out.
More than a few.
How about this? If you can just give us time to present you with the final plan, it'll be your call whether or not we move forward on it.
I suppose that's fair. I can't pack up this stronghold in a day.
One more thing. It's clear by now the Enclave hides its secrets well. If there's any information on the source, I need access to it.
There are private records that can only be accessed with the Eye's signet. I suppose he's not using it at the moment, but...
Bryn did just save your people from certain death not too long ago.
Fine, you can borrow it. You should find information at the Spire in Upper Denevron, the Bastion, and the Institute.
We'll arrange a meeting with you when we're ready.
Good luck.
Council records are meant to be public. Wonder what else the Eye was hiding from his people. records on the construction and maintenance of grand gates across the Enclave.
That's the eye signet. Did you know I can reveal the Enclave's secrets? Not that I need to pry into the eye's darker truths. Let me guess. You're trying to find another way to reach the source. I'm all for it. We'll be able to speak more easily then.
Ugh, I'm sick of your voice already.
Such impoliteness is unbecoming of you. Didn't your parents raise you to be a nice, respectful girl? I gather I spoke of his own daughter, but those are the core values your kind instills in her.
Shortly after the surge, enchanters discovered severe damage to the bottle. All who participated in the expedition were sworn to secrecy by the Eye in power at the time. Last time we went looking for answers in the Bastion. Half the documents were torn to shreds. What else were they hiding behind the Eye's signet? Looks like research that's been compiled on the ecological and geographic impact of the surge across.
Hope you're not afraid of diving into bottomless pits.
Hardly. Maybe a little. Why?
Despite the Grand Gates no longer functioning, there is a more direct way to reach the source, by dropping straight down into a rift in Lower Denevron.
You know, last time I wanted to charge into a restricted area, you weren't so sure it was a great idea.
People change. And sometimes people change you. Maybe I've learned a thing or two about calculated risk-taking from you. And the prospect of securing the source makes this a risk worth taking.
This is only one piece of the puzzle. The axle isn't going to budge until we figure out a way to lessen the tangles at the source.
With good reason. We don't want you to fry down there.
I appreciated your candor in the meeting, Sev.
It was terrifying. Wasn't sure I'd be allowed to stay. You didn't get to voice an opinion with the others. Are we...
Well, I'm not going to pin a medal on you, because Sola says we shouldn't waste the materials. But you did good, big guy. We're a team. And it's good to know you're still with us.
I knew something was wrong the moment that thing started talking to me when Stanild wasn't around. It was very focused on you.
Me?
So much so that it said the only way the plan would succeed was if you talked to it. It reeked of trap. I didn't survive a decade around Tarzan Norians without picking up when someone's holding a knife behind their smile.
But you still took me down there.
Sorry. An educated risk. I felt there was nothing it could do and wanted the whole band to hear it talk. I don't think it understood we have the scry.
And Stanild wouldn't use one, of course.
The Talon was his deepest secret. Whom would he tell?
Can you tell me more about Stanild's plans for once he went through the Grand Gate?
He was counting on Isla. She was exceptional at protective fields. But even then, no. I don't think he had a real plan. The Talon had convinced him he'd be able to survive, and fool that he was, he trusted it. We can't afford that mistake. But I have a theory. You know how the weather sometimes skews wildly hot and cold?
Right. The aeroliths.
What else do we see on similar cycles?
Miasma.
Exactly. So, it follows...
You think the aeroliths are able to affect raw magic somehow?
I do. And in Stanild's private records and designs. I found notes specifically on aeroliths with Norian commentary.
You think the Norians were involved in their creation?
It would certainly explain why Tarza had such access to aeroliths before the Surge. If I'm right, this might be the key to making the source survivable.
Fewer tangles means less dead me. Absolutely. Where do we start?
You'll need to head to the Watersmith area of the Institute, and I'll guide you from there.
Bryn, I was so moved by what you did for Aurea. It's clear she means a lot to all of you.
Thank you. She does.
But her father, Eugenius Osphine, I know who he is.
You do?
Yes. And I want you to make an offering for his grave. I can give you a key swatch to reach it.
Wait, you know where it is?
I do. And I'm sure Aurea would love to watch you visit on the scry.
Okay, but shouldn't we tell her?
Trust me, this is something you should show her directly. Come back when you've got the offering and I'll give you the key swatch.
One of Aurea's feathers would be beautiful as part of the offering for her father's grave. an offering for you, Genius. Time to talk to Arik. I've made an offering for Eugenius's grave.
Great. Here's the key swatch to his farm. That's where he was buried. I'll join Aurea at the scry when you arrive.
Are you sure you don't want to be the one to place the offering? This was your idea, after all.
It will be more meaningful for her if it's you. Trust me.
All right. Thank you for this.
What is this place?
Osvine Pastures. Your father's farm. I thought you'd want to see it for yourself.
My father lived here.
More than lived. He gave his blood, sweat, and tears for the Enclave here. Eugenius Osvine may not have a statue in Denevron for excellence in weaving or kissing the eye's arse, but he kept the surviving weavers afloat during the aftermath of the Surge.
I had no idea.
After the Surge, he only kept enough produce to take care of himself and his workers. The rest went to weavers across the Enclave, and his generosity led to many helping him in return.
I can't believe he did so much for the Enclave.
He was a true leader, if not in the most traditional way. A community of workers formed around him, including ex-points, who would transport his food across the Enclave in these caravans. Many of whom went on to form the Scouts as an organization that still exists within Cassidon's Hold today.
So that's how you know all this.
Before the Arcs began malfunctioning, they were integral to farming across the Enclave. Many farmers refused to stop using them because of their efficiency, even at the risk of their farmhands being attacked. But your father scrapped his Arcs as soon as he got wind of the first malfunction to keep his workers safe.
That can't have been an easy decision.
But he made it, anyway.
Everyone thought he was mad at the time, but in a few months when the attacks became widespread, his forethought was recognized. After the Surge, aftershocks destroyed many farms, including this one. Tangles spread across the land, crops began to die. While other farmers abandoned their livelihood, Eugenius never did. He had to rebuild many times, but he weathered every storm.
Wow. My mother told me he was driven.
Of all his workers, Eugenius was said to be the first one in the field each morning and the last to leave at night.
He sounds a lot like you, Aurea. This looks like a wooden carving of your mother, Aurea.
Please, bring it back for me.
Of course. This must be your father's grave, Aurea. I'll place an offering here. It certainly won't be lonely. Are all these offerings for Eugenius, Eric? Some of the flowers are fresh.
The Scouts continue to take care of his grave to this day, to honor all the sacrifices he made for the Enclave.
He must have been an incredible man.
This is so much more than I ever could have expected. Thank you for showing me, Eric. Truly. And Bryn, when you come back to camp, there's something I need to do. All right, everyone. It's no secret that my role in our band is changing. What each of you has done to help me find peace in that is more than anyone deserves. And the time has come for me to say that serving each of you as point has been just... Being your point has been the privilege of my life. I've loved every minute of it. But in every ending, there's a new beginning. She's been doing the job since we got here, and the time has come for us to congratulate Bryn on formally becoming your point.
Well deserved.
She's been exceptional. We're in great hands.
Bryn, care to say a few words?
I wanted this role for so long that, truthfully, the band I got it for didn't matter to me. But you've all taught me that this role means nothing without good people to serve.
I'll be here every step of the way to ensure history remembers our persevering point.
I couldn't ask for someone better to pass the torch to.
Thank you, Aurea. That means everything.
You earned it. And I should have done it a while ago. It was just hard to let go. What my father did for the Enclave is... well, it's more than I could hope to achieve. It's funny. My mother never lied about who he was, but she did leave a lot out.
Sounds like he was the hero she described, if not in the way you expected. But from where I'm standing, he seems more deserving of a statue than most.
Yes. You know I never looked down on my father for being a farmer, right? My reaction to finding out his identity for the first time wasn't about his job or him not being who I wanted or expected him to be. It was about me, not being who I thought I wanted to be. But perhaps my way of measuring success has been far too narrow all these years. And I can't help but wonder if my mother's was too. If that might be why she never told me who he was.
Maybe that was a part of it.
It wasn't like she put pressure on me, but there were always unspoken expectations. I needed to perform. And I'm grateful to her for that. I wouldn't have the career I've had if it weren't for her. She was a great mentor. But perhaps there's a cycle to break when it comes to how my family has defined its legacy.
I think that's beautiful.
You do?
Of course. I told you I look up to you. I can't wait to learn as much from this phase of your career as I have from all the others.
Me too.
See those massive pipes running along the roof? Norian design. I recognized them earlier, and they prompted my investigation into the Norians and the Enclave.
It seems Daniel chose you as his lackey. You have a grasp of that message for
This should be the place, Bryn. You're looking for tablets with a circle marked by 6 dots. They'll look blank, but I'll be able to read them when you bring them back.
Why not bring them to me instead? Think of what you could do.
Pass.
That's one of them, Bryn. I hoped they would still be down here.
What should we expect?
The Norians were experimenting without informing the Enclave on the airwaves. They wanted them to do more than just moderate the weather. They wanted to control it.
They got tired of long winters? Gloomy days?
Think bigger. If you control the rain in a desert, you control the land itself.
200. Why not just incredible power and endless life to the walls?
That should be enough for us to piece their research together, Bryn.
How delightful. The fussy one has been running his errands. And lo, he is pleased.
Shush.
I shouldn't be surprised the Norians use a fluid to conceal their secrets. It's ingenious, really. An acid of sorts that can etch the writing into the metal invisibly. And when you apply another compound, it oxidizes. It's like a legible rust, and yet, after you're done, you can just wipe it clean and it flakes off.
Medium aside, what did we learn?
As Sev expected, research on the aeroliths. It's a bit outside my speciality, so I passed it to Dharm.
And how are we feeling about Sev's revelations?
It's not like I've never kept things from my friends, and I generally keep them from my family, so I empathize. But I don't keep them from the band. Anyway, Dharm's waiting.
Lane said I should talk to you about the plates we found for Sev.
Perhaps you could walk with me?
Sure.
I have already passed my notes on. This conversation isn't about them. I wanted to ask how you're doing with regards to Sev.
Honestly, Tom, I try not to overthink it. Sev did nothing to hurt us, and he's clearly trying to contribute as we figure out what's next. That's what matters.
Oh, what must that be like? I overthink everything. While I don't share your pragmatism, I appreciate it immensely. Truly, the scolds will sing of Bryn of Calnhaven, as I predicted. What matters to me most is that you are doing well. We seem flung from crisis to crisis, and too often the load lands on your shoulders.
One step at a time. And with the best band a point could have at my side, we will figure this out.
Yes, we will. Ultimately, I will say this. There was a time in my life I walked away from everything I held most important. Sev is handling it better than I did. He's not angry or bitter, he's just working through the problem. It's kind of you to help him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than he'll ever be able to say. So I'm saying it for him. Sev already has my notes. Good luck in your endeavors.
It's a little bit beautiful, isn't it? It's like reaching into the past and shaking hands with its designer. We have achieved much.
I think she'd be happy to see it up and running.
I think so too. Plans set in motion decades ago. Slowly ticking towards fruition. If we are so lucky. Exciting news, Bryn.
You figured out how to clear the source?
Nothing quite that far along, but we are a step closer. As I suspected, the Norians were doing experiments not even Enclave leadership knew about. Not to just stabilize the weather, but directly control its extremes.
Which is pretty much what we're seeing the aeroliths do, here and now.
I honestly think that these experiments, left unattended, are the direct cause of the wild temperature changes. Likely contributed to the floods as well, though I suspect Asylum was the larger cause there. Regardless, if I can pick up where their research left off, we might have a solution to our problem at the source.
What did the Norians stand to gain controlling the weather anyway?
Their power base has always been in Taza, where the deserts need water to grow. Imagine being able to withhold rain or worsen heat at a whim. What kind of power would that give you? The kind the worst parts of the Order crave.
If we succeed, will we be able to stop the weather fluctuations entirely?
I hope so, in time. But the system has been out of control for years. For now, I want to focus on our immediate problem of the Source and the Surgeborn.
Did your research say anything about miasma and tangles?
No. Those phenomena are too new to be in the records you recovered, which are pre-Surge.
What will it take to move from might have a solution to definitely have a solution for the Source?
The research you recovered focused on using patterns from creatures with natural flame and frost affinity. It used those patterns to briefly augment one part of the enchantments woven into an aerolith.
Use flame magic to tilt the aerolith hotter for a time?
Yes, exactly. And they had some success with it, proving the method's viable.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but too bad there aren't miasma creatures.
There's one, and Dharm already managed to recover some of its pattern.
But not enough?
Oh, absolutely enough. You've been working hard and it's paid off. I needed an exquisite resonance from all three types of magic. And we have that.
That's fantastic. Is that it then?
We're going to combine them with the Norian's notes and Dharm's studies of the Herald to build a device to influence the aeroliths. I gave the design to Sola. She said it should be doable, but wants your approval on which materials to use.
If this could pull miasma out of the Source somehow, sign me up.
It's the most promising lead I have. And it's very promising indeed.
That was one of the most complicated things we've ever collectively assembled.
I hope it wasn't too much.
Not at all. The only tough part was Dharm hovering the entire time. He's enthralled with this device.
Oh, well,
I'm teasing you, Seth. I'm not sure if you'll still be my apprentice after all this, but I will tease you.
No more learning to smith.
Now. I'm not saying that. We just need to figure out what comes next together. Which brings me to the question of the hour. You were already a Norian. Why did you want to be my apprentice anyway?
Rambralem.
Oh! That makes so much more sense. You could have just told me.
That's a cultural thing for you, isn't it?
Oh, you know. Yes. Very much so. But yes, Sola. I'm sorry. I was afraid if you dug too hard into my past, you might learn about the Norians.
And they don't like people digging.
No, they truly don't. That is your answer, though.
And this is your intricate doodad. I cannot wait to see what it does.
This airlift should be perfect, Bryn.
Right.
That's all we needed. The others have been helping me with a little project on the side. A surprise for you. You'll see.
What is Seth building?
What's all this, big guy?
The culmination of all our efforts, Bryn.
He wanted it to be a surprise.
Consider me impressed. But what exactly does it do?
He hasn't told you?
As Casman said, I wanted it to be a surprise.
Sev, we all do better work with context. This is something you're going to need to get used to.
Yeah, you're a weaver now. I heard you say so yourself.
It's the culmination of an Orion dream. But unlike them, I'm not going to use it to put a nation in a stranglehold. No. I'm going to change the weather. For you.
For me?
Yes. It will take some resources, so let's be judicious, but yes. We can change the weather before your expeditions.
So all those patterns I collected.
Critical to calibrating things. Weather and miasma alike. The creatures have been exposed to so many wild environmental swings. They were affected in ways I could use to calibrate to the aerolith's patterns.
And that's what Dom was helping with?
Everyone has helped Bryn. Literally everyone. No politics, no backstabbing. I could get used to this.
Good. All that stuff wastes time and energy.
You said this will take resources. Am I hunting more patterns, or...?
Nothing so dire.
Bryn, you've got enough to worry about. Let us sort it. We'll treat it just like upgrading the camp. Maybe I end up trading with the Hearthsiders. Maybe we do a little alchemy. We'll handle it.
Well, this is incredible. What's involved with actually making it happen?
It's not simple for me. But for you, I'll keep it simple. If we want to make a change before you leave, we can do it as part of the preparation. The aeroliths are all connected. And the device we created will let me give them let's call it a shove, for a day or so.
We've run some limited tests, and everything holds up. It's really rather ingenious.
And we'll give you quite the edge. Imagine tossing a drought when a frost creature is hunting.
It can affect miasma, too, yes?
Yes. And since, thanks to you, I know exactly where the source is. I'm confident I can help you clear a path. Clear enough that the Ark of Verdance should be able to keep you safe at any rate.
Sounds like the last piece of our plan. Should I call the Axle?
When you're ready, we are.
Have I ever told you how much I enjoy watching your expeditions on the Scry?
You too?
Look, it's no secret that when Aurea injured her wing, I was skeptical of you taking over expeditions. So I started watching you to make sure things were going well.
You mean to make sure I didn't screw up?
Fine. That's what I was doing. At least at first. On one of your first expeditions into the Hollow, I watched you take a swing at that massive Archon thinking it was inactive. Then, when its eye lit up, these visions of you dying started swarming me. I panicked and asked Aurea if you were ready for this, hoping she'd pull you out immediately. Then you began climbing the Ark. And it was like everything in my head just went quiet. That does not happen often. You had this serene look on your face. Like this was exactly the challenge you'd been waiting a lifetime for.
It was.
When you took it down without breaking a sweat, I was secretly pretty impressed.
I like hearing you had faith in me, even back then.
It's only grown tenfold. After that, I enjoyed watching you on the Scry. Knowing you're out there, keeping all of us safe, relaxes me and keeps the visions at bay.
How are you feeling about Sev, Sola?
Delighted.
Not upset to lose an apprentice?
I'll find more. Lots of talent among the Hearthsiders, according to the Axle. And that's perfect. They'll learn quick, just like Sev did. I'm proud of him. And controlling the weather itself. Incredible. I've learned from a lot of years on the road that change is the natural way of things.
Our time in the Enclave has certainly proven that.
Anticipating change and finding joy in it, the best thing you can do in your life.
You know, I can't stop thinking. Could Stanord have fixed the weather?
From what Sev said, the former I was more a political animal than an expert.
Yeah, that makes sense. If only he'd shared what he had access to with people who were halfway competent. Anyway, I just hope Sev can keep digging. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
You look like you've got something on your mind, Sev.
Struggling a little, perhaps. I find myself torn.
Between Casmin's stews and Darn's spiced pork? Same.
Pork. Stew gets in my fur. That aside, I find myself both wanting to tear down the Norians and redeem them. Surely not everything they did was self-serving politics. There had to be some craft or artistry behind it.
That's the part of Norian-ness that appeals to you?
Recently I found records, experiments to improve flow rates across the tapestry.
Better pipes.
Pretty much. The team was working on it right around the time the surge hit.
Any idea where?
Not too far from here. Odd they'd set up in a swamp, but perhaps it was a stress test.
We're going to have to fix the Enclave eventually. Better pipes can't hurt. I'll check it out.
You are tireless, Bryn.
I wouldn't say tireless. Just responsible. That is what a point does.
You're right. But we all notice how hard you work. I know what it feels like to work without praise. Feels good to shine a little sun on your achievements.
Everyone knew the aeroliths could smooth out the weather, but no one suspected they could change it so suddenly. Since the surge, they've caused wild swings, but no one has ever tried to control it.
Sev's achieved something incredible.
And practical. Imagine the look on a glass tail's face when it suddenly turns blisteringly hot.
Surprise, Icy Boy. It's summer.
Ha! Exactly. Advantage, Bryn.
All right, everyone. Let's give Khan Atame the rundown.
Using the aeroliths, I can trigger a miasma everywhere they affect above ground.
It is advised that your people remain indoors during this process.
The miasma will flow from the source, which will lessen the raw magic enough to keep Bryn safe while she escorts the Ark.
And how is she going to get there without the Grand Gate?
She'll drop in through the rift in Lower Denevron.
Skies, of course she will.
Don't worry. I've got plenty of experience scaling down cliffs.
Once she's in the underworks, she'll stay within the Ark's protective field and follow it to the source where it will fulfill its purpose, to pacify the Tangles.
And what about the Herald?
That's where you're going to need to trust me.
You really think you can do this?
When I doubt my own abilities, I just look to my band. Kaz is prepared for plans A through Z. Dam and Sola have me armed to the teeth. Aurea is going to guide me through thick and thin. Lane knows more about the Enclave than the people still living in it. Arik has brought us into your world, and Sev can control the freaking weather. How can I fail?
So? What do you say?
Kenrick lied to us for decades. It's hard to believe anyone who says they're going to take care of the Surgeborn now. But with how open you've been, and everything you've done for us already, you've earned my trust. We will stay and fight for our hearth.
Thank you.
Bryn, I'll coordinate with Sev. When you're ready, come see me. This is going to be a challenging expedition. Are you ready?
Have Arik escort Khan Atame here. I'm ready to move out.
Good. Take some time to rest. And I'm sure everyone will want a chance to speak with you before you head into the rift.
You all worry too much. I'll be fine.
I know that. Just make sure the others do, too.
All right. My favorite lawkeeper.
It's nicer to hear that, now that I know about the other lawkeepers you knew before me.
None of them could ever compare to you.
To the contrary, I think they compare rather poorly. So, are you all right?
I trust that everyone's done their best to make sure I succeed. But I'm still scared.
I am too. It's not easy to hold this entire expedition in your mind, to untangle the possible outcomes, the confounding factors, the known unknowns, and the unknown unknowns. There's still so much. But like you said, everyone's done as much as they can. More than anyone could have thought possible before we first passed through the Veil. We are as ready as we'll ever be. So, I came in here to sit with you and hold your heart for safekeeping.
It's yours for as long as you'll have it. I don't know if it's strange to ask, but could you read to me? Something a bit dry. I just want to hear the sound of your voice a little more before we go to sleep.
I have some taxation records at hand.
Not that dry.
The development of arc external plating took place over the space of a full decade and required the long-term collaboration of several dozen forge masters, metallurgists, and enchanters to ensure maximum structural strength and magical
Sola, how are you feeling about the upcoming expedition?
These days I can handle just about anything. And that's in large part thanks to you.
Me?
You supported me through all this Tarmakine stuff without faltering. Even when it felt like my world could crumble in the face of it. And then, you didn't just bring Dom and I back together. You and Casman showed us we never really lost one another. I just feel so much more resilient thanks to you.
Come on. That was all you.
Don't worry. I'm not selling myself short, but you gave me space to grow as a person. Not a lot of friends are brave enough to do that.
Anytime, Sola.
I'm ready to do whatever it takes to help you succeed at the Source Spring.
Glad to hear it.
Hey.
How's it going, Arik?
Sorry, I get kind of keyed up before anything big. Breathing helps. And this is a big one, isn't it?
Maybe the biggest. At least in recent memory.
Legendary understatement. Anyway, we're as ready as we can be on my end. The scouts still in fighting shape after Stanord's folly are deployed. They'll be reporting on Surgeborn behavior and ready to intercept if anyone moves against Darm and the Axle. I wish we had a dozen of your scry, though. Ours really can't compare. We're going to do this, Bryn. You're going to do this.
That's the plan. Thanks for all your support.
You're what we needed. Someone to step up and damn the consequences.
Bryn! Not just quick of blade, but big of heart. It's always a pleasure to see you.
It's always a joy to see you too, Dom.
Not everyone can catalyze a discussion between a couple that clearly needed to happen. You'll always have my thanks for that.
How are you feeling about the expedition?
We are as ready as we can be, and with our intrepid point as the vanguard, what could go wrong?
Rather a lot, honestly.
Yes, but it shan't. You will overcome, and you need to keep that in your heart. Hope is like magic. Its real strength comes from inside. Will, fortitude, and belief can overcome the impossible. If you believe that you have what it takes to win the day, you shall. I know this, and you do too.
I find myself once more mining the past for clues. An impulse not born of regret this time, but I'm out of sorts. He's gotten into my head. What a bother.
Stanild.
Yes, embarrassing. I'd hoped I'd have a thicker skin than this.
We've done everything we can, right? So perhaps we just need to have faith.
As alien as it is to me, yes. At some point, we need to lean on belief. Founded in trust, founded in fact. Doing it again?
I don't think I've seen you like this before.
It's not my most particularly favourite way to be.
Why don't we run through some of the preparations you've made to take your mind off it?
Right, yes. I've prepared all the potions and filters you might need. Mixed them up in bulk, thanks to the equipment I've gathered. From the raw ingredients to the essential alcohests to the final product, I am sure that what I've made is of the highest possible quality. You're right. It did help.
Kaz, how are you feeling about the upcoming expedition?
Surprisingly okay. Not too long ago, circumstances like this would have sent me spiraling. But these days, I feel like I can handle it.
I'm glad to hear it. You've come a long way. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks to you. And while we have a moment, I should probably tell you. I know you can do this. No matter what that crummy herald says when you get down there. You're going to kick its proverbial butt out of the source and save the Enclave as we know it.
Kaz, it helps to hear that.
Yeah, well, normally you're the one who says the right thing when I need it, so I thought I'd change things up for this.
Thanks. You're a good friend.
After the surge, we no longer had any reason to celebrate. Our seasons were broken, so any festivals we once had to celebrate their transition suddenly lost their meaning. So we stopped. I've lived my whole life like this, only hearing stories of joy and calm and peace and optimism. Never seeing it myself. If we succeed today, there may well be a reason to celebrate once more, and my heart burns with the desire to give that gift to the children of the Enclave, who would otherwise go without.
We'll get it done, Karnata May.
Hiroon. I very much hope so. Don't die down there.
Hasn't happened to me yet, so that must mean the odds are in my favor.
I've run every test I could think of.
I can name 7 or 8 subtle variations of snow off the top of my head if you need more weathers to test. Freezing rain, flurries, squalls, sleet. Sleet's fun. Well, to say. Sucks otherwise.
You really are from the mountains sometimes, you know. When I told you about the Grand Gate and Stanild's plan, I wasn't sure I was doing the right thing. You and the band have helped a lot with that. A lot. And hey, we've only scratched the surface of how the Enclave truly functions. So many mysteries to uncover. But I'm going to need your help. Understand?
I look forward to it. I'm sure you have thoughts on the upcoming expedition?
It's funny. You'd think I'd be remembering my mother, the expert weaver. But my father is on my mind right now. What it must have been like, cultivating his fields year after year.
Taking a moment to enjoy what you've cultivated.
I'm at peace. My new role is to help you build upon what I've learned.
That's quite the legacy.
One last piece of advice before you go?
Always.
When the time comes for you to find your own apprentice, choose one that can help you with this transition like you've helped me.
If I survive this, you mean?
We both know you will. Sev is set to vent the tangles from the source when you're ready, Bryn.
I hope this works.
We have every reason to believe this will make the source tolerable for you. I'll tell Sev to get started. Dom and Khan Arteme will escort you to the rift with the Ark.
Looks like Sev was right. The rift has been vented. It's as safe as it's going to be.
You sure that rope can hold us both?
It'll do the job. Just try to land gracefully.
I always do. Got it.
My magic will only carry the Ark for as far as I can see you. Good luck, Bryn of Carnarvon.
Ignore it.
I plan to.
You'll find I demand attention. You know, it hurts my feelings that you haven't come back to visit me even once. I get lonely down there in my cell.
Boo-hoo.
Breathe through it, Bryn. I know its voice is making your skin crawl. I feel it too.
It helps when you guys are talking, instead of it.
Then we'll keep talking. We're here for you.
No matter what that voice says, you stopped the Herald before. You can do it again.
You're going to wrest control of the Source from the Surgeborn once and for all. This is sure to be history in the making.
Be sure to emphasize my virtues.
How could I not? They're all I see.
You're getting close. Join me, and I'll grant you strength beyond your wildest dreams.
I've already told you, I don't need it.
If you're strong enough without me, why are there 7 crutches chattering in your ear?
They're not crutches, they're friends.
We could be friends.
What's so funny?
Couldn't destroy me with an arc of my size. And so he brought a toy instead. Destroy it after you perish. pointless efforts and join me. We will
I stopped you once before.
than it was at the Grand Gate. Like the rest. But you're still mortal. And if you will join me, I will hear your final breath. Rest assured, I'll end
What's dark?
Aurea?
Rin, we're losing contact.
So typical of your species. The breach is too wide for your arc.
Breach? What breach?
The breach between our world and yours, of course.
You're from another world?
You call us Surgeborn, but we are ancient. As old as the tear between worlds that bleeds what you call magic. A wound your kind tore wider in their own quest for power. Until they could no longer contain it. And the inevitable happened.
The Surge.
The Surge. An event so cataclysmic in both worlds it shook them to their core. And it left a path. One I had to follow. Your kind have mastered the coral, indestructible and suffused with incredible power. Power you barely understand and haven't earned. Power that should and will be mine. You can't hope to compete with me. I carry with me 1,000 souls and 1,000 bodies. You are an insect. Consider it an inherent failure of your species.
Could you shut up?
Does the truth strike a nerve?
No, you're annoying. And I'm trying to think.
Rin! Arik managed to get the scry back, for now.
We've lost visuals.
The Herald is down, but regenerating. And the Arc of Verdance. It's working, but the raw magic is too much. The Arc can't pacify the tangles.
You need to get out of there. Now!
No! I have to do something.
Bryn, we will find another way.
Don't bother. You will die. Just like the Eye's daughter.
Whatever it takes.
Her name was Isla.
Bryn. Can you hear me? Bryn. Talk to me.
Oh no. Come on.